it's all yours. Got it? Do you think the bank would say that's a good idea? Why do we allow these people to lie and play us like they do every time? He's going to tonight, and they're all going to, yeah, he's serious. Is he serious? Now, here's the part that I hate to bring up to you, because we spent all day checking on this, because I heard this morning. I thought, there's no way this is possible. There's a sinister side to all of this. Okay. Remember, President Obama raised the spending, okay? Let's just take one of these places he's going to freeze. Just one example. The EPA. Remember the EPA? They were the ones that say, you don't do cap and trade, we're going to get you. Well, it's interesting. The EPA, he raised the budget by 35% last year. EPA. But he's freezing that. He's freezing it. In this freeze, it will prevent the Republicans. It doesn't matter. Congress doesn't matter anymore. You can go out and vote whoever you want. The Republicans cannot cut the inflated budgets for places like the EPA for the next 3 years. The freeze is intact. No cutting. No more, but not a dime less. This is nothing but symbolic nonsense. It's beyond that. It's a joke. It's an insult. The president likes to say he's serious about the economy, but actions speak louder than words. I want you to think about a couple of things. Do you think he was serious about health care? I do. I do. Not about your health, but the power behind health care. He pulled out all of the stops. First, he had the town hall meetings. He was everywhere. Then, of course, he had the goon squads at the town halls to shut down any kind of dissent. There they are, SEIU. They were beating people up. Then they had endless amounts of money spent on speeches and these ads that were everywhere. Then we showed you the art propaganda. Hundreds of millions spent on bribing states, sacrificing any of the politicians to the gods that, do whatever they had to do so they wouldn't lose that 60-seat majority. That's what they did for health care. But when it comes to the economy, we get responses so bad, it's really, honestly, hard to tell if it isn't some sort of weird inside Washington joke on the public. I just showed you the 0.58% joke. But how about the one in April last year? After the Tea Party started getting noticed, President Obama tried to appease by announcing this joke.
So what we're going to do is line by line, page by page, $100 million there, $100 million here. Pretty soon, even in Washington, it adds up to real money.
That's unbelievable. $100 million in budget cuts. Joe Klein might think that's a lot, but the budget was $3.5 trillion. $100 million out of $3.5 trillion is, you ready? 0.003%. That's a joke. Then we have the president's attempt to create a budget deficit panel. Stop insulting our intelligence, Mr. President. Yes, because the panels have solved so many problems over the years. Let's just take a moment here and think about all the problems that have been corrected and all of the great ideas that have come out of government blue ribbon panels. Let's just make a list of them real quick here. I don't have anything. I thought you did. Nothing? We do not need a panel to figure out how to stop spending. You just stop spending. It's not exactly rocket science. And if it is, let's call the people at NASA. The phones don't seem to be in use right now. The system is unsustainable. I have shown you the debt clock 1,000,000 times on this program. We have over $300,000 per citizen that has to be paid. How are we going to do that? Not everybody makes $300,000. Most of them are on food stamps or welfare rolls lately. Unemployment is up. Unemployment insurance is up. Unemployment is still double digits. But this time, Americans, my apologies to Joe Klein from Time Magazine, are informed. And they will not be bought off with a laughable $100 million bribe or a spending freeze that is a trick to make sure that no one can cut the budget. You see, Mr. President, we're not as easy as Mary Landrieu or Ben Nelson. And so the battle begins. What should the president do? Well, regular Democrats would rather have him do a Bill Clinton and move to the center, but that's not what progressives want. Progressives will purge whoever stands in the way of reform, even the blue dog Democrats. We showed you this system yesterday. Chavez is doing it, and Barack Obama is doing it too. There's a failure, you blame somebody, you punish them, you silence defense. That's the way it is. It's what progressives do when their policies fail. All you have to, excuse me, all you have to do is look to history. They'll blame anybody. It's usually the rich. And then they punish those naughty, evil rich people for screwing up everything else. How? They usually do it, excuse me, boy, those Twinkies are, I am so used to just celery and carrot sticks. Bullcrap. How do they punish people? They raise taxes. Oh, those fat cat bankers screwed up the economy. So we need to make up for those losses with more taxes. You'll hear this argument all the time from progressives. But they're only going to tax the rich, and those extra taxes will pay for everything. Both claims are, despite what progressives say, history will tell you it is untrue, if anyone will ever do it. Woodrow Wilson, this is an evil SOB, man. You need to read about Wilson. Bad dude. He passed the Revenue Act of 1913. Blatantly unconstitutional, but people let it slide because it was only going to be on the rich. And the rates were so ridiculously low, and they would never be raised. 6 years later, the top tax rate went from 6%. They used the war as an excuse. Wilson went from 6% to 75%. Do you know that FBR said over, I think it was $20,000, 100% tax? Yeah, that's soaking the rich. Sort of, because the bottom bracket increased from 1%. Everybody's like, oh, no, he'll never. That's never. 1% to 25%. How's that? Now everybody's paying their fair share. It's a progressive tax and a progressive dream, except for one little problem. Tax revenues. We know this from Art Laffer, and it's called the Laffer curve. Okay? The more you tax, the revenues go down. From 1916 to 1921, returns and net income from the top brackets, when they went from 6 to 75%, think how much money we should have. They went from $1 billion to the IRS, you ready, to $153 million. How? How's that possible? Because of the Laffer curve. You just don't have any more money left. By the way, they also did the tax revenues for the bottom bracket as well. It was ugly all the way. Now, in 1921, top bracket went from 75% to 24%, and the bottom went from 25 to 6%. What happened? $155 million. That's what they were making, 153. Went to $361 million by lowering taxes. That's weird, isn't it? $361 million after the tax cuts. It's the same story over and over again. It repeats itself. It did it with JFK. He did the tax cuts, yes, a Democrat. He did the same thing that they did in 1921, had similar results. The tax cuts produced 11% more revenue than projected. Why? Because we hire people, and more people are on the rolls. Reagan tax cuts increased the federal income by more than 40%. Yes, but the deficits, that's not about taxes. That's about spending. Bring the money in and don't spend it. It is nothing but a progressive lie, one that has been spun to the American people for the last 100 years. When you watch the president tonight, you, please, learn history with me every night. Please. The way to solve this is through remembering the past, because you will see right through his promises on the economy. You will know exactly what he's doing because they keep doing it over and over again. And on tomorrow's program, you know, you don't even have to watch this stupid speech tonight. I'll watch it for you so you don't have to. I want to hang myself over watching this. Tonight, I'm going to watch it. And instead of bringing you what he did say, because everybody else will do that tomorrow, when you join me back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I'll show you what the president should have said. That's tomorrow's broadcast. Back in a minute.